Basically, the topic of our conversation today is about working on yourself, and I'm going to kickstart it by talking a little bit about a philosophy or a concept I call the triad of success. And if you listened to the promotional clip that I sent this morning about this meeting, I talked a little bit about the triad of success, and basically that's the closest I can get to creating a formula for success, if you like. So these are like the key ingredients for success in any endeavor, basically, and it's made up of three things. One is work for yourself, work on yourself, and the third one is serve others. Now, in a nutshell, let me describe these things for you. Work for yourself. What does it mean? Let me see if I can actually share this thing up. I tried to share it earlier, and it wouldn't let me. Right. For some reason, it still doesn't let me share, but it doesn't really matter. I'll just carry on. So basically, it's those three things: work for yourself, work on yourself, and serve others. Now, work for yourself, what does it mean? I mean, so many people confuse it. When I say work for yourself, people think of actually being self-employed. And don't get me wrong, there is nothing wrong with being self-employed. I think it's a fantastic thing to do. And for quite some time, I've been self-employed myself. I haven't actually done I haven't been employed for a good since 2014, for 6 years now. So it's a brilliant thing. I love it, but that's not what I'm talking about here. When I say work for yourself, what I mean is you could still be employed, but still be working for yourself. What do I mean by that? What I mean is you need to be accountable to yourself first before being accountable to anybody else. And you need to hold yourself to a higher standard of accountability than anybody else holds you. The good book, the Bible, speaks of this really well. Jesus said, if somebody asks you to go within 1 mile, go 2. If someone slaps you on one cheek, turn the other one. Basically, all he's saying is that hold yourself to a higher standard of accountability than what anybody else will try and hold you. And that is the key to success. The biggest problem that we have is that so many times we allow others to determine the standards of our expectation. We allow our employers to determine our standards of expectation, our standard of accountability, and we almost use that almost as a barrier, almost as a goal, as a ceiling. That's the right word I was looking for. We use that as a ceiling. That if I do that, then I'm good. You know, your employer says you have to be at work at 2 o'clock. It's like that is the standard. That's what they say. It's like you try to get there as close to 2 as you can, because basically that's what it's told you. Your employer has told you that you need to do 1, 2, 3. And basically that's all you strive to do, to just do that 1, 2, 3. Now, if you can be able to break out of that and actively try and do over and above what others require of you, you are in the right direction into your success. Because if you just do what everybody else expects you'll end up being what everybody else is, basically. You end up with that box standards that I always talk about, box standard life that I always talk about, I should say. So first ingredient is to work for yourself. Hold yourself to a much higher standard of accountability. Require of yourself more than what others require of you. Expect of yourself more than what others expect of you. And that cuts across in any area. You know, look at all successful people. Look at successful footballers. If you look at them, what they were doing over and above what is expected of them. I'll give you a good example. Ronaldo, at the peak of his game, I mean, he's still a great player, but he used to be sort of like in his own level a couple of years back. And when you speak to other footballers that have played with him, his other teammates, what they'll tell you about him is, what he would do is he would be the first one in the training session. So when they're coming into the training session, he's already there probably an hour before, practicing his free kicks, practicing his skills, doing all these things. and they do their training with their coaches and everything. They finish their training, they're all going away. So what is required of them is done contractually. What they're required to do contractually is done, but he stays behind practicing his free kicks, practicing his skills, doing his things. So he's doing over and above. He's actually requiring of himself a lot more than what the club and the team requires of him, or what his coaches require of him. And I can tell you that takes guts, because these players, these professional footballers who are playing at the top level, what is required of them is already so high. The bar is already so high, but yet this guy, he still demands of himself a lot more than that. So that's the first thing. You have to set yourself to it. You have to demand yourself of a higher, much higher standard to get ahead. So that was the first thing, work for yourself. Now the second one, work on yourself, which is really the topic of our conversation today. And Stephen is going to do it justice with this presentation. Basically, work on yourself. Basically, it's about yourself. How much time do you spend developing yourself? How much time do you spend developing your strength? How much time do you spend building your reputation, building your brand, if you like? Because so many times we spend so much time working on an employer, working on a job, rather than working on ourselves. Now, don't get me wrong, working on a job is a fantastic thing, because you have to earn a living. I mean, without earning a living, you can't look after a family, you can't look after yourself. You probably can't do it. I mean, you won't even be able to come into the Zoom, because even coming into Zoom takes money. So yes, you need to work on your job, but it's even more important to work on yourself. If you want to get ahead and be successful, you have to actively set time to work on yourself, to work on your skills, to work on your strengths, to work on your ambitions, the things that you want to do that at the moment you cannot do because of your job. And because otherwise that will just be an excuse till you retire, and that's not what you want to do. So working on yourself is really important, and that's why we've dedicated this session today to talk about working on yourself, because that is really important. And the last thing, speaks for itself: serve others. I think that is the pinnacle of success, and that is what determines someone's worth. Your worth is not based on the things you accumulate. It's not on the finances you accumulate, on the wealth you accumulate. No, your worth is how much you have impacted other people's lives, the difference you've made in other people's lives. All successful people, all great men of this generation and generations past, the reason they became so great is because of the difference they made in other people's lives in whatever area of their expertise. It's how much impact they made in others that made them so great, what made them so successful. It's not what they did to themselves, but it's what they did to others. So it's very important to look at that. And I did say in that little clip that I sent this morning that if you focus on yourself, if you focus on your own sort of stature, on your own sort of getting things for yourself. That's how I put it. If you focus on getting things for yourself, then you will be successful, yes, but your success will be so limited, and as a lot of people have found out. But if you focus on making a difference in other people's lives, making other people really achieve their dreams and get satisfaction out of their lives and making a difference in their lives, the same could be applied even a place of work. If you want to be really successful at work, don't focus too much on what they give you, but focus on what you actually give to that organization. And those who focus on giving back to the organization that they work for are the ones that tend to be more successful. They're the ones that tend to climb up the ladder, and so on and so forth. So this can be applied in all different sectors and different facets. So it's not just the issue of about you doing your own business or doing your own thing. You can even apply these same principles even at place of work. So yes, so finally, serving others is the pinnacle of success. So there you have it, 3 things: work for yourself, work on yourself, and serve others. And that, to me, is what makes the formula or the ingredients for success, lasting success, to be more specific. So the topic of our conversation today is working on yourself. Maybe another time we might get time to talk more about working for yourself, and another time talking about serving others. But today is about working on yourself. And when you talk about working on yourself, personally, this talks about self-mastery. When I say self-mastery, I think you understand. There is one time I think we had a conversation about that. Self-mastery is about getting the best out of you. It's about knowing yourself. It's about knowing what works for you, what doesn't work for you, knowing your strengths, knowing your weaknesses, knowing how to get the best out of yourself, polishing your skills, becoming the best version of yourself. So all these things is what self-mastery is all about. And when you talk about working on yourself, that's what you're talking about. You're trying to master yourself. And I think that's the most difficult skill of them all. So many successful people, so many different people have been very successful in other things that they have kind of failed in mastering themselves. Creating a really positive attitude, becoming, having self-control, self-leadership. We had a full session on that, and they failed on that. And as a result, that has become almost like a roadblock to their overall success. So it's really important to kind of really master yourself, know how to get the best out of you. Because once you do that, I think you're in the right track and in the road to success. So in this area, there are two things. You have the hard skills and you have the soft skills. Okay. Now the hard skills are things like your education, your training, you know, what goes into your CV basically, the things that most people would actually see. You know what I mean? I'm a doctor. You know, I trained for so many years. You know, I have these skills. You know, I can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have these experiences. You know, I have these certificates or diplomas or degrees. Those are hard skills. Also, hard skills could include things like talents, gifts. You know what I mean? I'm a great footballer. I have this gift. I'm really good at this. Those are still hard skills because they're things that you have and they can easily be seen like that. But I just want to focus a little bit more on the soft skills because I think that's where a lot of us kind of fall short. That so many of us will be really good at you know, we have CVs, we have, you know, we can, you know, these are our experiences, these are the kind of jobs I've done, these are my certificates. It's very easy to acquire that, but we get this question so many times. There was another forum that we're having a meeting. I can't remember what the topic of the conversation was, but someone asked and said, I wonder why, especially people of color, I really don't like that word, people of color. Let me call it the BAME community. The BAME community and the ethnic minorities, we seem to struggle. We have the qualifications. We're probably more qualified than our native counterparts in so many different ways. But when it comes to job prospects and being in positions of influence and doing this and that, we more often than not fall short on that. And he was kind of posing it as a question that I'm wondering why this is the case, and we have to kind of address this issue. And personally, I think, I mean, there are so many reasons for that, and we probably will spend so many hours trying to address that here today, and that's not my intentions at all. But I think one of the reasons for it is because we have put so much emphasis on the hard skills and kind of turned a blind eye on the soft skills. And when I'm talking about soft skills, what am I talking about? I'm talking about things like communication skills, things like attitude, things like leadership skills. I mean, there are so many others, but I would like to mention these three, and I would like to spend a bit of time explaining these three. Communication skills, attitude, and leadership. Because these are things that more often than not, you're not going to be taught at school. Or even when you are, it's one of those things that you have to almost work on yourself to develop them, if you like. You know what I mean? And I think they are really important. In my opinion, these three are probably the most important of all the soft skills that are out there. There's so many other soft skills out there, and I'm sure if I ask around, you can name at least 10 easily. But I think these three are one of, at least, of the most important ones. And when you talk about communication skills, what am I talking about? You're talking about the art of listening. You're talking about the art of talking. You're talking about body language. When a certain wise man said, in referring to listening, he said that seek to understand before being understood. I don't know whether that makes sense. Basically, what this person was saying is that so many times when it comes to communication, you always have a point you want to bring across, isn't it? You're trying to talk to people. You have your point. There's something you want to bring across. You want to say something. And sometimes we get so engulfed in our desire to get our point across that we miss the point that is being brought to us. And as a result, we end up missing the opportunity to really address what the other person wants to hear. I don't know whether that makes sense. Basically, what I'm saying is that unless we really learn to listen, what we say will not have much impact. Does that make sense? That if we can learn the skill to listen well and understand what others are saying and what others are feeling and what others are trying to get across, then we can understand what others need to hear from us. And therefore, what we talk in as a result will be of more impact to them. So listening is the most important skill when it comes to communication. And unfortunately is one of the most neglected as well. So that's one of the areas that we really need to develop and really learn and really try and hone and really develop. Another area, like I said, it's about talking. And this is about how articulate you are, you know, how well spoken you are. Now there are so many different ways you can look at this. There is an issue of language. There is an issue of your choice of words. There is an issue of the way you get your message across, whether you're beating around the bush or you always just go straight to the point. There is an issue of accent even. You know what I mean? What sort of accent you speak with. Now, understand me really well. I'm not trying to say that if you have a certain accent, then you're not communicating well or not. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is all these people, all these things, all these facets, all these elements do matter when it comes to communication. You know, let me ask you a simple question. If you're meeting someone for the first time, and then that person starts speaking with a certain accent, what happens? You associate that person with people who speak with that accent, don't you? And as a result, you start creating your own version of who that person is because of your perception of the people who speak with that accent are. You understand what I'm saying? So it's the same thing, even in this country. I mean, when you hear a Scottish person speaking and they speak in their Scottish accent, you think, oh, this is the Scots. And you already have your own formulated version of who the Scots are and what they are and how they speak and what is their personalities. And depending on what your description of that is, will determine your attitude towards that person. So accent does matter. You speak to someone with a West African accent, the same thing. You create your own version of who you think that person will be. Someone speaks with, you know, another accent, same thing. So that does matter. Now, by that, do I mean that we need to change our accents? No. But it's important to understand that that does affect, and sometimes that would affect what the other person would perceive of you. And therefore, you may have to adjust your message and tailor it in such a way that you can offset those assumptions, if you like. So it's important to kind of understand all these facets and really try and do that. But in terms of language generally, and in terms of talking, it's important to really spend more time in really assessing, do I get my message across? Does it quite understand? This is something that I do all the time. The meetings that I record, I always record these meetings. I always go back and listen to myself, listen to my own voice, listen to my message, try and ask people around for feedback. And by all means, if you have any feedback on some of our presentations, you're more than welcome to come to me directly and say, Charles, you know, yeah, I really like what you do, A, B, C, D. I'm not quite sure about what you do, A, B, C, D. You know, this doesn't quite, I don't quite get it when you do this, because those kind of feedbacks really help me to kind of hone my skills better in terms of my communication skills. And I really encourage you to do the same for that, because when it comes to communication, you can't do without it. Whether you're employed, you're working for yourself, you're running your own business, if you can't communicate well, your successes will always be limited. So it's something that we really need to hone ourselves in that area. The last thing is about body language, your attitude when you're talking to people. Do you have, you know, do you establish eye contact? Do you come across as a confident person? Do you know, are people comfortable around you? Is it to do with your body language? Do you really engage in conversations when you are, or do you always come across as disinterested? Those kind of things, you know, they're little things, but they do matter. And unfortunately, those are the things that makes a difference when two people come across and they all have the same CV, they all have the same experience, but one gets chosen for a promotion, the other one doesn't. Because it is these little things, these little soft skills that can let someone down and be a platform for someone else to go higher. So that's about communication. Attitude. The other day, I think it was last week or the week before, we spent a full hour and a half talking about attitude and the diseases of attitude. So I'm not going to talk much about this, but with attitude, we know about being positive and being passionate, about being open-minded about things, being able to try things, about being decisive. Are you a risk-aversive person? Do you run away from risk, or are you sort of like risk taker, or do you manage your risks? What sort of person are you? You need to assess yourself, and by assessing yourself, I mean looking at these things and seeing whether they are blocking your success or they are actually encouraging your success, because that's the whole point of this exercise. That's the whole point of working on yourself. You're trying to get the best out of you. So you're looking at those things that can either be a roadblock to you or a success for you, really. So yeah, self-belief also falls into attitudes. What is your attitude towards work? Oh, I have to go back to work. Oh, I'm doing the same thing all the time. Oh, my manager is always on my case. Oh, I really don't like this manager. Oh, my salary is too little. Oh, they're doing this. What is your attitude? Because then that will determine your success. And trust me, if your attitude is poor at work, it will be poor everywhere else. This notion that, I don't really like my job, I'll just give a bare minimum at my job, but I will give 100% into my own business, is unrealistic. If you're a sort of person that gives 100%, it has to come across the board, every area. Your attitude towards work is going to be your same attitude you're going to put towards your own business. It's going to be the same attitude you're going to be putting towards your family. And therefore, you have to look at this thing holistically and really challenge yourself to improve. And the last area I said I was going to talk about a little bit is about leadership. And when I talk about leadership, a lot of minds shut down, because a lot of people say like, oh, I'm not a leader, I'm not in a leadership position. But my friend Paul here, who I dare to call him a leadership guru, Paul Mhando, that is, he talked to us last time, and he's got some fantastic videos on YouTube talking about leadership and the fact that leadership is not about position, and leadership is for us all. Leadership is about taking responsibility beyond yourself. Leadership is about influence. And in one way or another, we are influencers of others in one way or the other, whether you have a position or you don't. And the more influence you have on others, the more success it brings you. You remember when I said that about serving others and about making an impact on other people to determine your success? Leadership is key, because the more influence you have on others, the more responsibility you take beyond yourself, the greater your success threshold, if you like. So these things are really important, and I think it's really important for us to keep challenging ourselves daily on how we can really improve ourselves and really make a difference in our lives. Now, before I invite Steve for his presentation, I want to bring up this very simple poll. It's a poll of 3 questions that I want you to answer really frankly and really quickly. It's an anonymous poll, so don't worry about others knowing what your response is, because no one will. Not even I won't even know myself. So please answer them frankly. It's just 3 questions, and then I'll share with you the results of it generally, anonymously, and then I'll invite Steve for his bit of presentation. Let me see if I can bring it up.
Yeah? Where? Where are you?
Right. Can you all see the poll? Can you all see it? Give me a thumbs up if you can see it. Yeah, okay. Now, I've got 3 questions in that poll. Basically, question 1 says, have you set your personal development goals this year and strategies to achieve them? So if the answer to that is yes, you can tick that. If it's no, yes. If you don't know, not knowing, it means you're not quite sure. You think you have, but you're not quite sure. You're kind of like, did I not? You're kind of on the fence. So you can say, I don't know. And by personal development goals, I mean things to do with your personal development. So this will not include things like like wanting a promotion or completing a certain course or finishing a degree or doing something external. It's something more to do with yourself, something you want to develop yourself, like your strength and things like that. So if it's something you've already set for this year and you've got strategies to achieve them, then that you can answer that. Second question: do you clearly know your areas of strength, areas of weakness, and areas of growth? If yes, no, and kind of means you kind of vague. You haven't really paid too much attention to that. You haven't really put it down. You're not quite sure. You're kind of like, you have to really think through because you haven't. So that will be kind of. Third question: on average, how much time do you spend each week on matters of personal development or personal growth? So again, is it less than an hour? Is it 1 to 2 hours in a week? Is it 3 to 7 hours? Is it more than 7 hours? More than 7 hours, it means you're spending more than an hour each day on honing your skills, developing yourself, really pushing yourselves to excellence, basically. And less than 1 hour, it means you pretty much not doing much or not doing anything at the moment to do with your area of personal development. So I'll give you guys another 30 seconds to answer that if you haven't still, and then we will get going. I think we've got like 15 responses so far. There are about, how many of us? 20 of us. So I'll give another 10 seconds for you to respond. And then I'll end the poll. 5 more seconds. Excellent. I think we've got all the responses. I'll end the poll right now and then I'll share the results. And share the results. Ta-da! Can you all see that? Thumbs up if you can. Brilliant. Okay. So here we are. About 79%, nearly 80%. Sorry, pardon me. About 79% said yes to the first question, which said, have you set your personal development goals for this year and strategies to achieve them? If you have, fabulous, thumbs up to you. That is brilliant. And I think it's really important that you have set goals for your personal development to know exactly what you want to achieve and what areas you want to grow, what areas you want to develop, and really go for it. So that's really important. 11% haven't yet. I really encourage you to do that. 11% don't quite know. Hopefully by the end of the session today, once Steve has done his presentation and we've had a bit of discussion at the end, you will have a clearer path to setting your personal development goals, and you will do that because it's really, really important. Question number 2, do you clearly know your areas of strength, areas of weakness, and areas of growth? About 3/4, 74% say yes, which is brilliant. Nobody says no, so this is really good because at least it shows we do know ourselves quite well, and about 1/4, 26%, are not quite clear, and so hopefully again by the end of this conversation here today, you'll get better ideas as to how you can find out more about yourself and really start developing strategies to develop your areas of strength and improve your areas of weakness as is necessary. And on the third question, on how much time we spend on personal growth per week, you've got about 1/3 not really spending any time at all on that. And you've got about half of us spending about an hour or 2 each week, and about 16% spending 3 to 7 hours a week, and none of us spend more than 7 hours. So yeah, this kind of gives us an idea of why these sort of sessions are important, because we really need to challenge each other. I will stop sharing this for now. Yeah, so this gives us an indication of why we need these sessions, to really challenge ourselves, to really sort of ask ourselves these difficult questions. That are we really spending enough time to develop ourselves? Are we really looking inwards as to develop ourselves and get better at who we are and what we do? and really make the most of what we already have. And so that is me kind of really ramping you up for this conversation today. And like I said before, hopefully we're going to have a really positive conversation, a really interactive discussion, because this is an issue of experience. We're all doing this thing in some form or another. So we really encourage for us to really have a discussion. Use the chat section, as I said before. Let us chat away. If you have any questions, chuck it in there. If there is a point that really resonates well with you, put it down there. You have ideas, put it down there. And at the end, we'll have time for Q&A, to ask these questions, to have answers to this question, and time to sort of have a bit of a discussion on this. So I really encourage that element of interaction, element of discussion in the conversation that we're going to have today. After saying that, thank you so much for listening to me. Let me invite Stephen Buraganya, who is my co-host of Lifetime Success Seminars. He's a fantastic guy, a brilliant communicator. And Stephen, the floor is yours. You're welcome to do your presentation.
Okay. If you can still, Charles, figure out how to share, because you see my presentation today has got really a lot to do with slides, because I would like the people to see, and that will really make life beautiful for all of us. Because you see, as you know, we're not coming to do lectures. You see, we just kind here to share ideas and see how we can better ourselves. So I will try, Charles, to do sharing, see if it's going to work, because otherwise it's going to be a little bit
Give it a try now. See if it works.
Yeah, well, I think I see something, but
Awesome.
yeah.
Getting there.
Is it visible? Everyone can see?
Not yet. We're still in a black. Oh, there it is. There it is.
You see that one here?
Yep.
Can we all see?
Yes, we can.
Good. Good. So yeah, thank you very much, everybody, and I do appreciate you coming in today. And I'll try to do my best really to leave some time at the end, because I also want to hear from you, you know, as well as you're listening to me and Charles as well. So the key is, as we say, we're talking about working ourselves. And what I can say is really to just remind ourselves. It's a very vast area. And the point that I'm going to share today, they're not like the final point. There is hundreds, maybe thousands of points. But, you know, it's something like a meal. You know, you just choose a menu for the day, yeah? So what I'm sharing today is just one of those, you know, few areas that we're going to touch. Well, it's going to be a menu for today. And then let's see how much we can succeed. Now, starting with, I have this story here that I want us to really, if you can read, really just follow and read, because it's a good story and we're going to say some things about this. Okay. If I can start reading, if we are ready. The story goes like an African farmer who had tales about other farmers who had millions by discovering diamond mines. And this guy was so excited. And he had a piece of land and decided to sell this piece of land. And he did that, aiming to go and, you know, find where the gold is. Yeah. If you're finished, then just raise your hand. Just. Okay. I'm gonna go next page. Now, meanwhile, back at the ranch of the farm, the farmer, the person that bought this farm from this guy, actually discovered something, right? And what he discovered was, for real, some diamond. Yeah. something that the owner of the farm didn't really recognize that this was a diamond. But this guy didn't understand. He didn't know that what he saw was diamond. But he saw some things glittering on his backyard. Okay. So as it says in here, he picked one of them and then he put it in his lounge, in his sitting room. Now, one day, he had a visitor. And then this visitor, came in the house, and then, when they're having a little chat, and he said, well, what is that thing that is shining over there? And he said, well, I don't know. I just found it outside my garden. And, I just put one there. Okay. And then he said, okay, so if you don't know what this is a diamond. Now, this guy who had it did not believe that that was a diamond. Yeah. Can I go next? Can I go next? If we are ready, if someone can wave, I can go next. I see people are reading, which is good. Yeah? Right. Now, here's the key. The person who owned the place, the first farmer, the owner, who owned the place, did not know that he had a diamond on the place. Okay? And he decided to, sell, went somewhere else to find the diamond. So I want us to focus on the moral of the story, which to me is very key. It's going to be my opening of the discussion today. Okay. The farmer did not take time really to prepare himself and understand what diamond looked like. He heard like, okay, there are some diamond, people are succeeding in a certain place, and then he set out to go. But the key thing is I'm learning here, which is very important lesson for me personally, I believe for you too. Number one, before we set out to run outside and check, we're going to sit down first and look into, the thing that we're running into too. And this is going to come down to me. Okay. So before I rush outside to say, oh, people are succeeding on this, people are doing this, number one thing I need to know, whichever success is out there, I have to be a success, number one. Okay? I have to be a success. That is important thing. If I'm not a success, even if someone gives me a successful business today, I'm going to fail it. Okay? So to me, the conclusion that I can conclude, it's not about possibly the car, but it is about the driver. If I take the Formula One car, the one that Hamilton drive and give the key to Charles, well, he's a driver, but I don't think he's going to win, right? So I'm going to give the same McLaren, but he won't do. So the key is not the car. The key is the driver. And you and me are the driver of our lives. Yeah. So that is the number one important key that we need to know, because at times we may really forget about ourselves and we're just looking outside. Focus is there. If there is any problem, is out there. But the key is not outside there. It's number one, me. For you and me to succeed, we'll have to be a success first. Yeah. So that is an important point that I really want to start with on my discussion today. That when we are setting out our goals, when we want to achieve whatever we want to achieve, number one key important thing is focus on you. As Charles says, there's a vast plenty of areas, that we can really work on. The attitude, for example, the disciplines, you know, the setting up goals, as I say, and you set some, you know, when you set some goals, you really work on them. So number one thing I want us to look on ourselves, is to look on you and myself, okay? So let me proceed. You can see on this example here, this guy worked so hard. He did work so hard, very, very, very hard. And in the end, he quit just an inch before the success come. Okay, so what does this tell me? Or what does this tell you? You know, as Charles said earlier, we have to develop, I think last week we were discussing about the attitude, okay? I have to develop a winning attitude, okay? And this one, no one else can develop, you know, no one else can instill, but I have to decide, I have to make a decision to work on it myself. Yeah? Right. So let me go to another point. There is this, that the grass are greener on the other side. Now, instead of you and me really, you know, put some work and work on ourselves or on work on where I am, I see that, okay, it's always, you know, better on the other side. But it's not about the other side, it's about you and me. Okay, it's about you putting down the work, putting out the effort, you know, do the push-up that we need to do, you know, and make things greener on your side. And this is a very good example. You may say, oh, you know, I want to travel maybe abroad, as we can say, I want to travel abroad, I want to go to a different place, you know, because you see, the economy is better there, the lifestyle is okay over there. That could be fine as a general rule. But the key is, you know, even if I take you to America today, drop you to America, does not want to make you success. Like, okay, I'm in America, just drop me there. That's not going to be, right? If you're a success, it doesn't matter if I put you to Pakistan, it doesn't matter where I put you, you will succeed. So number one, it's important to know that you are the meat, you are the potato, you are the main meal. You know, environment will contribute to some extent, yes, you know, where you are, you know, the system and everything. But at the end of the day, it's all down to you and me, right? I can build you a gym, but if you don't do the push-ups, you're not going to develop nothing. That's what it is, you know? So you're going to work. See, these cows, as you can see, this one, see, the other one is better, the other one, see, the opposite. And it's a typical thing that, you know, we normally do every day. You know, it's just greener on the other side, but it's not in a real fact, it's the same. And if you see it's greener on the other side, well, do something on your side to make it green. You know, so put some work. And I think we really waste a lot of time doing this. Oh, what Charles is doing now? Charles is doing finance, right? I'm jumping on. After 2 months, it fails. So what's going on in town? Oh, there's this new something. So you keep jumping on things because you see how people are succeeding. Exactly the example I gave you on the farmer. The guy had it all. But because he heard that people are succeeding, he didn't take no time to look around. He didn't take no time to study. He just packed the bags, off he went. You know, and to me, that's a very big lesson in life that you and me can draw. You know, it's not, you can succeed in everything that you want. You know, it's not about what's happened, what's succeeding, what's doing well. You know, what's doing well does not guarantee you succeed because that is doing well. You know what I mean? So it's really important, whatever thing you set out to do, you know, do at the best of your ability. But number one thing is about you, you know, having the right mindset, you know, having the right attitude, you know, having that, you know, zeal and passion to succeed, you know, making sure that I'm putting 110%. That's what counts. Okay? So this is another percent, the grass is always greener on the other side. You know, it's not green on the other side. It could be green on the other side, but it doesn't matter. You jump on the fence. Soon you realize that, oh, it's not green anymore. So you're going to be looking on another side to see another greener. So it's going to be every time you move in your goal. Charles is laughing. Smiling. That's going to be every other time. After spending some time, you say, no, 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 it's not good. I need to move. So you're going to be moving, and you're not going to succeed by just moving around looking for where the grass is greener, you know? So it's about you, you know, it's about you. And I say, Charles was giving an example of the footballer. I used to do Man United, and I was really happy when we had this guy called Sir Alex Ferguson, you know? So you can have the same team, the same players, and you're not doing well, right? Same everything, but the only thing is probably they have a different manager. So you can say, okay, the same team, same shoes, same everybody, they're failing. But the key is not the team and the, you know, it's about the person actually. Now you come to learn, it's about what philosophy maybe of the manager, whatever he was doing right. Okay, so this is an important point that I want you and me to take. You stop keeping jumping around, say we're looking for the greener pasture. No. You make it green on where you are, because wherever you're going to jump on after 6 months, you're going to get used to that green. You say, no, no, I don't think this is green enough. I'm going to go and find another green. And you're going to be looking for green until you find yourself you're in South America, and it's not going to be nice, yeah? Another point is that one that I've been explaining, you know, let's go to work. You know, if the grass looks greener on the other side, stop staring, stop comparing, stop complaining. You know, what you're going to do, start watering the grass on where you're standing, you know, change the environment that way you're standing, you know, work on the place that you are, you know, because whatever you see on the other side possibly didn't just happen. Somebody put some work on it. This is why you see it's greener. So put some work on where you are, okay? So you can make the grass greener on where you are, you know, the greener, on where we are standing. Now, here is another thing that I want us to remember today. We don't have to change what's going on there. So what we need to do is changing on ourselves, okay? So work on you. You know, I got to work on myself. You know, it's not really what happens outside that really matters, but what matters is what am I doing? That really counts. Okay. Now, another thing that I have to, you know, to say, and I think we all know, we can't control what's going out there, but I have the control of what is going on for me, right? At the moment you say you got, oh, pandemic, we all have the pandemic. You can't say, oh, you know, I'm complaining. I can't complain because that's for everybody. But now, what do I do with the pandemic? That's my own choice. Okay? It's raining outside. Yes, it's raining for everybody. But now what do I do with the rain is my choice. And well, I'm going to stay in today because it's raining. Or it doesn't matter. It's a day for me to go jogging. I'm going to go out. It's a day for me to go for the gym. I'm going to go for my gym. So you can't complain about the rain. It's raining for everybody, you know. But the key is, are you going to really do? This guy said 6-pack is coming soon. Well, hopefully it's coming soon. But you can't complain about what's happening, because the economy is the economy. You can't really, me as a person, I can't change it by doing nothing or doing whatever I can do. But I can change what I do, you know, in regard to what's going on. Okay, so we don't have to change what's going out there. Sometimes it's not possible, but we can change what we can do. You know, we can change the direction that we're taking. We can change by start reading a book, you know, start reading a book, you know, set up some goals, you know, work on your mindset and stuff. Yeah. Right, the next point I want to raise is, as we can see in here, again, this is about working on you and me working on me. And I like this is from my best teacher, Mr. Jim Rohn. He's saying, don't wish that things were easy, but you're going to wish that you were better, right? So easy is not an option. What I need to do is to ask, if I can, is to work on my abilities to be better, be able to face the challenges that I have. Yeah. So you say, don't wish for less problem, but wish for more skills. Don't wish for less challenge, but wish for more wisdom. And you can see this by itself is something that can transform your life if you really choose to work on this. You always have a challenge. You always have a problem to solve. Now, we shouldn't wish that this problem was not there. What I need to see, okay, I have a challenge, I have a problem. I have to grow above the problem. Yeah, and all will come by working on yourself. Improve my skills. Make sure I have the knowledge. I have the skill that I need maybe to succeed in a certain field. I have the skills that I need to make me pursue a certain something. So it's not wishing that's going to give us the answer, but really the key is working on what we really want to see. And we all know that wishing really doesn't help, but working on, we can count on, we can predict the result by working on, but we can wish, but wish won't give us what we need. Now, the key is work on yourself. And Mr. Ronnie is talking about working harder on yourself than you do on your job. And I think Charles did highlight this very key. And you can find this is very true in most of our lives. For some reason, we can really work hard on the job. We can try to be there on time, do an extra mile, do whatever it is, but we don't do this for ourselves. If you make a meeting, Charles say, well, I want to meet you 10 o'clock. Possibly, yes, you do your best. You may be 5 minutes late. But when you promise yourself that tomorrow, 9 o'clock, I'm going to go running around the block, you let down yourself. You say, oh, I think today looks a little bit, the temperature is, so you don't do. But the same temperature, you're going to drive, you're going to defrost your car and drive to work, right? You're going to do the shift and come back home. But when we say, we're going to have a small Zoom meeting, you say, oh, come on, my laptop will not charge, so I can't. You're going to create this, whatever you're going to create. But you're going to know that the key is yourself. So if you want to work hard on a job, we do that. That one, no compromise, but I know. I do myself. But when it comes to work harder on me, that's where the problem starts. You cannot possibly lay down your workplace, your job, but you can lay down yourself. I'm repeating again. But it's important to really speak to yourself, speak to me, to say, I really need to work hard on myself, on whatever thing that I need, and that's the only way things will get better for me. And Mr. Rohn say, if you want things to change for you, you have to change. Unless I change, nothing changes. Okay, so the key is yourself. Just to remember, in every circumstance, in every challenge, in everything you do, just start by yourself. Look yourself in the mirror and speak to you. Have a little chat with you. Have a little chat conversation with you. Okay, am I working hard enough? I do appreciate the poll that, the question that Charles posed, So you just read them questions in front of the mirror. Look at yourself and say, okay, am I, setting up some goals? Yes. Am I really keenly working on them? Yes. Am I really making some progress? No. Why not? So make yourself accountable for what you're setting out to achieve. Now, I want you to imagine you as an organization, you personally, take yourself as a company, you as a whatever big as Apple, or you as an Amazon, for example, have you got your job description for you? You know, when we go to work, we're given a job description. You know, there's an expectation that they have for us. So we expect you to fulfill this and this and this and this and this. So you have a job description. Now, I want you to imagine you as a company, you as an Amazon or as a whatever company, you know, have you got something that for you, you know, that this is the description for me, right? This is what I have to do for me. Do I have my mission statement, for example? We have one at work, you know, that explain about them and whatever they want to achieve, the objective and the vision and the mission. So I want Charles to be that company, right? The mission statement, you know, what is the objective for that? What's the marketing that you're doing, you know, for you? You know, marketing I'm doing for myself. You know, in a company, they make, you know, profit and loss and something like that. Now here the key is personal. Am I winning or losing? So January is finished, now February is coming. So you're gonna look back and see, January is gone. Did I win? Did I lose? Am I making progress? Am I stagnant? Because you see, that's the only way you can track the progress. Am I moving forward or not? Yeah. So I want you to, you know, put yourself in that position. Say, okay, so if me as an organization, what skills, you know, do I need, you know, to succeed in the goals that I've set, you know? So what planning, you know, do I need to have, you know? So I want you to find a company, what they do, an organization, and then in the name of that organization, put yourself in there, okay? And then put all the things that, you know, that company has for it to succeed, for it to be sustainable, you know, for it to be existing 10, 15, 20 years to come, okay? So I want you to imagine that. And that is really working on you, you know? So, as I say, you know, the job description, the mission statement, the goals, objectives, and those things that they do in the company. So you substitute that with you and then see how much you can come up with. Now, you and me have to take a full responsibility and accountability for our destination and destiny, if I can say. And this is again is from Mr. Jim Rohn. He say it is not the set of the sail that really determine the direction, but it's how you set the sail. Okay. So at the moment, if you choose to say, well, I'm going to listen to what the government is saying, the government will say that we got pandemic, you're going to be wearing masks, lockdown, sit inside the house. That's what they're going to say all the way along. Now, that's what it is. But the key is for us to understand that, right, we are all facing the same problem, the same wind, the same everything. But what is going to determine where we end up is how we set the sail. On the same situation that we are in, there's some people who are succeeding. There's some people who are, you know, they're okay, they're happy. Nothing is changing. It's like this pandemic, but everything looks okay. Looks probably even better for them. Okay? So the key is you and me, how are we setting our sail? You know, how am I setting my sail? Because you see, if there is a wind of whatever it is, it's for everyone. You know, it's for everyone. But the key is, you know, how many push-ups do I do for me? That's what matters. You know, we all go to the gym, for example, but the amount of success and achievement we get is different depending on how much we put in, for example. Okay, so I have to tell myself, and you have to tell yourself that you are responsible really for your life. You're responsible for your achievement, for your success and your failures, you know. And let us stop focusing and looking and believing more on what is happening the outside. Because once we believe and focus more on what's happening there, we're going to freeze. We're going to do very less, you know, because the news is negative. The news is, you know, what's going on is really, so we're going to do very less. But forget about that. You know, come here, say, assume there's no pandemic. assume there is no what's going on, you know. How will I do with the goal that I've set? You know, will I be still doing, you know, what, you know, that's the kind of thing that I want us to take today. Okay. Right. So I want us to also discuss this. I need us to look. I need us to look beyond now. Okay, beyond what we can see. Yeah. And as I said earlier, it's not what happens really that determines future, but simply what we do will count. Yeah. So what do I do with what happens is really key. And again, I remember we had some discussion with Charles, I think, one of the sessions, and he say most time we kind of react with what happens. You know, now when we react with what happens, that's not going to be good for us. You know, we're not going to get the best results when we react with what really happens. But what we need to do is, as it is, surely we are on what's going on. You set up your goal, we set up our plan, and we work on it. You know, if there is, they say, right, M4 closed, then you find a detour, but you already have a destination. You already know where you're going. So you're going to find a way, different, you know, detour or something, still to progress and go, continue with where you're going. Yeah. So you don't react with whatever they say, the road is closed. You just find, okay, I know where I'm going. So you just go back, look on the map and see how you can go around. Yeah. But if there is no plan, if there's no what's going on, then you can say, oh, it's closed, everything is finished, and then you go, oh, whatever is going on. Yeah. So we need to see beyond. And the only way we can see beyond really is that we have a dream that we have a purpose that we have a goal that we've set for ourselves, and we're working towards that, you know. Otherwise, if we don't, as we said last week, every destination looks like, oh, I've arrived, you know, but we need to make sure that we don't react with what happens, and we focus on our destiny. Right. Another important principle is from Napoleon Hill, and that is really the habit of going an extra mile. Okay. Now you go an extra mile, and this is not for, well, I know it could be for the company. That's good. You need to do extra mile for the company. I know that one we already do, but I want us to focus today in doing an extra mile for you and for yourself. Okay, and all this is going to come in what Charles will say is going to come on an attitude. If you are working and you say you're hiding behind the curtain and you say, well, I'm hiding for an hour and I'm getting paid for hiding, hiding behind the curtain, and you're happy about that, that's not the right attitude. Because if you have your own company, you're going to have the same kind of whatever it is. So you're not going to say, I'll fix it when I have my own business. Now I'm going to start dressing smart, putting a tie, be on time. You can't do that. You're going to start doing it right now, okay? You have to go an extra mile. And this thing is by setting, I can say. The Creator made it that way. A lion needs to eat food. For it to go and get the meal, it has to go an extra mile. The meal won't just drop on the lap. No. The lion go to plan. The lion go to do whatever it can do. Go hunting. You can't say, oh, I'm the king of the jungle, I'm just sleeping under the tree, and it's not going to happen. It doesn't matter. You get that? It's not going to happen. The spider, got all this ability to make whatever. He has to make a web. He has to do something for the meal to come. You can't just sleep inside the hole in the corner and say, the meal won't come. That's guaranteed. So if spider go to work, if bees go to work, you're going to work on yourself. Come on, we're human beings. Yeah? So extra mile. Because that extra is what makes one extra something. It's like extra, well, I think I didn't spell Correct. Now I see. I forgot P there. But don't worry about that. But that extra is what makes the difference. Charles was talking earlier about the people staying behind. They finish the football, people are going, somebody stays behind. That extra something they put in behind, that's what makes them an extraordinary people. You know? But if you do just a standard, then you're going to be a standard. But if you just do the extra, after some time, the extra, you know, we will come up. And this is true either you're doing positive or negative, right? If you're doing an extra something in negative side, well, after some time, you're going to reap a good damage, right? If we do an extra on it, Charles is happy today. I don't know what's going on. But when you do an extra on the good side, eventually, you know, there's a law of increasing return.
It's sinking in, Steve. It's sinking in.
Right, that's okay. Thank you. Thank you. So it's that little extra something. So if you start going an extra mile, then opportunity will follow you. This is a Napoleon Hill, you know, trying to tell us. And I believe, because if you end up where everybody ends, there's nothing new. If you run 100 miles and everyone does 100, then that's okay. But if I put 110, if I repeat that 10 times, you know, I've done another 100 on top of 100. I'm going to have bigger lungs, you know, more oxygen, something like this. So develop a habit of going extra mile. Don't just do average. Don't end on average. Just go an extra mile. Yeah, do an extra something, an extra hard. You know, do that. And actually, and this is very true, even in workplace. You know, I had a friend of mine who were having a little chat. And, you know, we all have a little story, you know, how we came in the country, you know. And he said he was working in a construction unit somewhere. Now, the foreman, the supervisor, whoever the boss will say, okay, guys, come here. I want to give you some jobs. And then he said to them, now, who want to do this? He started, who want to clean the toilet? Everybody put a hand down. This guy said, yes, I'll clean the toilet. Okay. So, okay, they were given what to do. But come tomorrow, this guy who said I will clean the toilet, he was made the boss for all of them. So they were told that this guy is going to be now your supervisor. Well, he's going to be, you report to him. And the guys were, come on, what's going on? But you see, the guy decided, he just wanted a little extra that I'm willing to clean the toilets, no problem. You know, so you can see when you do things like that, you get spotted a little bit. It's not a very great, you know, shining example, but a small, simple example that shows that when you do that extra something, you know, things will start coming in place. Okay, so you're gonna go extra mile for you. I know you already do for your company, for your organization, or for your family, but you're gonna go an extra for yourself. Okay, set that extra something, an extra goal, an extra push, an extra book, an extra something. You know, that's what really makes a difference between ordinary and extraordinary. Okay. So next point. Yes, this is an important point I want to really carry across as well. How many people are mindful of what they eat? If I can see your hand up. That you don't eat anything, you just, you're mindful of your food. Charles, you're not convincing me. You're not convincing me that, you know, whatever it is, that is okay. But I am sure I know the subject of diet is it's a big business. It's a very, you know, organic stuff and detox and whatever it is. It's a big business, you know, it's a big business. People want to eat healthy and stuff. But see, there's another area that I want us to focus on, that is your mental diet, right? What do we put in there really counts. Very important, and possibly even more important than the food you eat. You know, the damage, if you put junk on there, the damage could be, well, 1.5 more times the in comparison to you eating the junk food on your body. You know, the one you eat in your body, you can possibly maybe go for a run and burn it. But once you put some wrong stuff mentally, then the results, repercussions stakes are high, right? So I want you to think and consider your mental diet. What do you put in there? Now that's your top secret. Don't share with me, but just what do I deposit mentally? What's the plan for me to have a balanced diet mentally? What am I putting in there? That's the big subject. That's the big subject. If you say I'm not gonna eat the Big Mac, it's not nice, then that is good. But what about in terms of mental diet? You may be jumping, a lot of junk in there, So it's important that you start thinking in line of mental diet. What's going on in your mind? Right? I love this guy. This guy is called Bob Proctor. Now, he's saying that your results are not according to your intellect or what you know on a conscious level, but they are according to your programming, to your level of consciousness. Now, these are deep things. Now, whatever we start putting in the brain and whatever it is goes to your mind, the subconscious mind. And that's really creates you, how you think, the attitude, how you see things, whether you're going to achieve something or not. It all comes on what we really feed our minds, because our minds is what really drives what's going on. So the key is all the time, and all the time, stand guard at the gate of your mind. Make sure you check what's going in. That's key. Very important. As much as we're careful looking in what we eat, we're going to check what comes on the mind, because that will really determine the quality and the quantity of our lives, And the bad news is, when you eat in the McDonald's, you go on the scale, you see, 5 kilos more. So you see, but this one is very hard to know. You can be mentally overweight for a long, long time without knowing that you got something wrong there, But this guy said this test, the test to show you and me is on the results. What am I getting? That's an indication of the deposit, okay? The result that I am getting. Am I getting the result I want? Am I succeeding or am I failing? Am I stagnant? Am I floating or sinking? That's going to be, an indication of what is going on. So all the time, to make sure that we stand guard at the gate of our minds. So I have another slide in here, which says that your diet is not only what you eat, right? It's what you watch, what you listen, what you read, the people you hang around with, and all this stuff. Okay, and all this stuff. So you can so this Big Mac, I'm not gonna have this. Well, I understand. We can see visually, but we need to see again, mental side. Mentally, what are we listening? What are we believing? Spiritually, what are we? All these things. Charles is smiling a lot today. I just.
Ordered a Big Mac and then a Diet Coke.
Yeah,
I forgot that. Okay.
I was just wondering how I'm going to put it in my mouth.
Next time, I'll add a Diet Coke, no problem. Right.
I'll eat that huge burger, but I'll make up for it by having a Diet Coke.
Problem is, Paul, you know me too well. That's the problem.
Right. No, thank you, Paul. Thank you, Paul. So, again, as I said, we're going to really take what we're putting on in here. Time to time, let's see that we're putting the right stuff. Pick a book, nice book, read a book, listen to nice stuff. Nice music if you like the music. Just make sure that you are conscious of what's going on in your mind, what you're putting in there. That is important. That determines really many things that happens in your life. So check your deposits, very important, because you see, if you put in Tanzanian shillings, don't expect to get pounds on the other end of this, it won't work. If you put pounds, you're gonna get pounds, possibly. So let's see what we deposit. That's important. Right, next slide. We're going to do a quick mentor MOT. And this is, I already said earlier, do you want to know what you think about most of the time? Let's take a look at the results that you're getting. That will tell you exactly what's going on inside. So that's the MOT, that's the test you need to do, okay? That's the test you need to do. So if you say, well, how will I know what's going on? You know, how will I know I'm succeeding or failing? Mr. Proctor say, let's take on the results that we're getting. Very important, okay? So always make sure that, you know, you can say, well, I'm gonna take a challenge from Monday. I'm gonna really consciously think about my thoughts. Like consciously, you stand guard, nothing negative, right? So you think about what you think. Well, it's gonna be hard to do, but just think about what you think. So all the time you're conscious of what am I thinking now? What am I thinking now? What am I thinking now? Just you just stand guard. You guard. It is a challenge you can pick, and there is a book for this if you want to read. It's called well, I'll tell you in the end. I just forgot it, but it's about mental diet. Okay, so you can take a challenge and see what you're gonna do. But me, it's important thing. It's really a serious thing that to consider all the time to make sure that, you know, we are conscious of what we are thinking about. Another thing I want us to kind of remind ourselves today is just work on your faith. And when I say faith, I know there is that spiritual faith that we can say spiritual faith, but I want you to work on the faith that you are able to succeed. You got to intensely believe that you can succeed. You know, that's something that you need and I need to work on. You know, it's not something like can just switch on and off like a light or, you know, a bulb in here. It's something that you really gonna train yourself and work on it. You know, have faith. You know, develop that, you know, intensity to believe in you that I'm, you know, able to achieve A, B, C, D. You know, I can work on this one and I can, you know, get it done. There will be some setbacks, you know, you can fall, you know, but when you fall, stand up. Make, you know, make the failure or the knockdown that you have, you know, a thing to propel you even further, you know. So believe on yourself. You know, this is something that we need to, you know, really make sure that we work on. Otherwise, you know, you won't try. You know, if you don't believe on yourself, you won't try. You know, if you don't believe on you, then who will? You know, nobody else will. So you're gonna believe on you and start doing some stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna believe on myself and start doing some things. You know, if I don't, nobody will do for me. You know, you're gonna believe on you first. You're gonna believe on yourself. You know, you're gonna cultivate. You're gonna put some fertilizer, some manure, make this faith in you grow and say, well, I can face the challenge. I can go for this, and I can attain and I can achieve this. Yeah. Another thing is integrity. Okay. Now this has got a vast, big definition, but the one I want to share today is on yourself. Now this is promising yourself to do the things you say you're going to do. People say, okay, I want to succeed. I want to be a millionaire, for example. I want to be this, I want to be that. They say. But the next morning, they don't do what really need to be done for them to be what they say they're going to be. You know, I want to have a healthy lifestyle, you know. But Charles still drink Coca-Cola, but he said now you drink no Coke no more, which is good. So you do, you tell yourself.
No, I'm drinking Coke Zero now. I've toned it down.
Zero. So that's good. That's
on the journey. I'm in the journey.
Amazing. That's good. So most times, you know, we fail on this. We say a lot of things, you know, we write a lot of things, you know, I'm gonna do, but we don't do what we say we're gonna do. This is a major problem, Paul. And you know, Paul, yeah, you're looking at me. Paul, yes. Yeah, we say we're going to do, but yeah, exactly. You, yes. We say we know tomorrow. I've listened to this thing. I'm highly motivated.
I thought you the other Paul.
Both Pauls then. Yeah, both.
There's another
Pauls.
Paul.
There's another Paul. Yes. Muhando and Paul. You Paul, I'll call you Muhando. But both Paul. But what I want to say is, you watch something and then say, well, I'm motivated. So from tomorrow, I'm buying my gear. I'm going to go for a run. And then you go the shoes, you go the trainers. But you look outside and say, no, man, it's not looking nice. You don't go. But yesterday, you promised somebody. Funny enough, you promised yourself. You know what I mean? At times, when you're a group, you can come because you see, if I don't go, Paul will see me like, come on, this guy's a joker. But when you're on your own, then you're a joker by your own, which is, you understand, it's very serious stuff. So you're gonna really commit. The other day I was listening to something from the guy, this 50 Cent. And then this guy has taught me something, discipline. So at times he might be working on his office, whatever, until 3 in the morning. At 5, he go gym. For me, I say, come on, 5 o'clock, I'll go at 10 o'clock. But he say, set to 5, so sleep 2 hours, he do the gym, he do the exercise. He just go to do what he say he's gonna do. That needs some discipline. You're gonna grow somehow. You understand? To do this kind of thing. But that's all. That's the only thing, possibly one of the things that sets winner and the losers apart. That extra something, the discipline that you say from tomorrow I'm gonna set out this and that, and you do that. So integrity, not on somebody, not on a company, not on yourself. So you look yourself in the mirror and say, Charles, from tomorrow, 100 push-ups. You do it. No excuse, right? I'm going to start learning about this or that. I'm going to start reading a book. You buy the book, you put on the shelf. You don't read it. You've let down yourself. But when is school and the teacher say, I need assignment this one because there is punishment or something, I don't know, we can do that. Somehow we can do for others or for company, but we don't do for us. Maybe we're going to discuss this a bit later, why that is the case. So do not let yourself down, okay? Do not let yourself down, You can let Paul down. That's much, it's okay. You apologize tomorrow, but don't let yourself down. You cannot apologize to you, So if you want to, just make a discipline. Paul is laughing. It's better to let Paul down. You can lie to him, but you cannot lie to yourself because you didn't do it. You know what I mean? But Paul can say, my car was not starting. Paul will believe in it, so we can reschedule the meeting. The car had a problem. You understand. It's winter time. You'll buy the idea. But now, if you tell yourself you're gonna do something, how are you gonna say that to yourself? Because you're lying to yourself. It's number one poison for you to drink. You know what I mean? So integrity, that's very important. It's key, okay? Now, another thing is how attractively and impressively do you package yourself? Okay, how much do you stand out? If I stack you on a shelf, how much do you really stack out on the shelf? How do you stack in there? So this is another thing. People say, well, I want to be successful, I want to be a millionaire, I want to be, which is okay. Well, I desire to be that. But I'm going to make sure that I do some work. I do work on my handshake. That's important, okay? I have to become that thing before that thing comes to me. That's what it is. That's the principle one, So you attract that thing to you by the person that you have become. If you're not there yet, it's not going to be. If you cannot, if my ability is to handle, 10,000 pounds, that's all I can manage. I'm comfortable. If you give me, 50 million, and then, well, it's going to be a little bit harder for me to to really manage that one at that time. Simply because, well, I haven't become that. Well, if someone is always handling that amount, it's not a problem. They already become that. They've already grown to that level. Okay, so it's important that you make sure that you package yourself well. You package yourself well, because you see, as a product, you see, I said earlier, if you remember, you put yourself as a company. They have a marketing strategy. How am I marketing myself? If I meet you, Paul, I'm gonna see the way you talk, the way you conduct, the way you behave, the way you do your things. All that thing. You're gonna look like, that thing that you say you want to attain, you want to attract. So I have to start being that thing. Yeah. So very important. Package yourself, because at times people won't be able to read what's inside my mind, but they can judge by what probably they see when they hear whatever I say, maybe how I appeared on that particular meeting or whatever it is. But always make sure that you package yourself nicely, attractively, okay, and all this as you, all this as you, even if you say there's nobody, for example, working from home, don't do in pajamas. Pajamas are no good. Just put your tie, put your suit on, and just work from home, and then there's nobody there. That has something, okay? So take time to work on your handshake, because it counts. It's important. And by that, I'm going to say thank you. You see, that's my final slide. I have finished, but as I've said, check the mentor, make sure that, what's going on there is only pure stuff, no junk, make sure there's no junk that's going on. Every junk, filter out, take it out. If you're with people, you see they're not going where you're going, just try find a way to just, find, to get out of them, okay? But more importantly, go an extra mile. I've said the mentor diet, make sure you know what's going on there. Be careful about it. It's not what happens really that determines, but what we do with what happens determines the future. What happens happens to everybody. But how we do, what we do, that's the key. The set of the sail, you set your own sail. You go the map, how you set it is entirely up to you. It's not the wind. Okay? I said, imagine you as an organization, make an audit, make SWOT analysis, make plans, make mission statement, make the marketing for you, you as a company, you as a person, what's the job description? They give you what to do at work, So for you as you, what have you set yourself to do for you, And the key is in here. Work harder on yourself than you do on a job. The key is yourself, okay? If you do on a job, it's fine. It's gonna give you a living. But if you wanna make a fortune, if you wanna leave a legacy, you gotta work on yourself. That's important. Don't go by wishing that things were easy. I have to make sure that I work on myself. I better myself. I'm becoming more wiser, become more stronger, become more intelligent, I become more eloquent, I'm becoming more rich in vocabularies and stuff. So just work on me, improve and improve my skills and make sure that I'm competent in the marketplace. I'm standing out, all that thing. So no wishing, just work harder on you, invest on you. That's important. Don't focus on what's going outside there, because sometimes some things we cannot change. But we can control, we can change what's happening in here, right? So if I want to have a six-pack, I'm going to make sure I go my push-up, I eat right, don't skip my trainings, and don't stuff. I work on me, What's going on out there is going out there. There's no problem. But key thing is what's going on in you, inside me, on my schedule, on my room, okay? That's key. The grass is greener on the other side. Always look like that, but that's not the case, you know? So instead of you rushing out to the other side, where you're standing, make sure you cultivate. Could be, you know, there's diamond down there. So when you're rushing outside, could be you're missing an opportunity right there where you're standing. So work on where you are standing. That's important. And that's an example. This guy is going on the other side, and the other guy, you know, it's just like a very nice picture to see. But this is real life. We do this, you know, but make sure that, you know, you don't move your goal chasing for green pastures. The green pasture will be moving, so you're gonna be moving all over the place. But you can make where you are a greener pasture. That's important. Never give up, you know. After all the hard work, keep going until the only time you're gonna stop is when you touch the diamond. That's where you stop. But if you stop before, you could have been stopping just an inch before, just an hour before your success comes. So keep going until the end, until you get what you want. If you stop at any point, possibly the next meeting, you know, the next Zoom meeting could be my breakthrough. So don't give up. If you set up something, just go for it to the end. Keep trying until, all right? Keep trying until you succeed. And that is the story of the farmer that we spoke about. He had a, you know, a field with diamonds, but he didn't realize that. He sold the land and he went to search for diamond. But the diamond were already there where he was. You know, he didn't take time to study how diamond looked like. He didn't even know how diamond, you know, and then he went out, you know, and it's very good example that we can use really to adjust and make our lives better, because you may be just going around a lot of places, but where you are, maybe in your workplace, you know, could be the opportunity that you're seeking is right there on your workplace. What you need is just to do that extra mile, you know, just go an extra mile. Just don't do the basic, just work a little bit harder, a bit smarter on the same place. And then you start going up the ladder and you become a CEO. That's what you wish. But you may choose to be jumping from one job to another. You want to jump on the top, but that's not going to be. Just look around first, make sure where you are, you know, there isn't that what you're looking for before you jump the dragon and go on another place. So that's important. All right. So by saying that, Charles, if I can return that to you so that I can drink a glass of water, that would be appreciated. Thank you guys for your time. Thank you for listening, and stay blessed. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Steve. That was a powerful presentation. I mean, there's so much gold in there, so much diamond in there. And like you said, I was getting too excited at times. I was almost jumping off my chair at times because of the things you're saying. It's such a huge challenge that we need to give each other. And tell you what, there is nothing that Steve and I have said here today or shared here today that is sort of like revolutionary, like out of this world, new thing you've never heard of it before. It's just the basic things that we just keep reminding ourselves. I think it's just the fact that as human beings, we just need to keep reminding ourselves, keep reinforcing that positive message that we really need to encourage ourselves to change for better. And that's what these sessions are all about. And I think Steve did a brilliant job at really pointing out those areas that we can really improve and really better ourselves. Our time has really gone too much. So I'll give two opportunities. One is to Mary, who had a question and she wrote it in the chat section. She'll have an opportunity to ask that, and then I'll give it to one other person to either ask a question or who has a comment on the presentation, and then that will be it for the day. Mary, your question.
Oh, thank you, Stephen and Charles, for such a wonderful time and a very good presentation. My question was, you work hard on yourself and you change your mindset and you improve your life, but you're living with people, you know, around you, maybe your family members or, you know, colleagues at work. My question was like, what advice would you give, like how you continue to, of course, work on yourself, but still live with people and not, you know, continue improving? Just how do you manage yourself around people who are not willing to change or work on themselves?
That's a brilliant question. Thank you, Mary. Who wants to respond? Steve, do you want to respond to that, or someone else who wants to respond to that question? Really quick, a minute max in response.
Can I try?
Yes, Paul.
For me, I'm going back to principles of leadership. Leadership is influence. So I think for the people who do not want to change, show that change yourself, because other people, they want to see, to be influenced. So influence them by what you do, not what you tell them. Just do the very thing that you think you want them to change. Do it yourself. Let them see, and also show them the benefit. Let them see the benefit. And I think after some time they might learn, because most of the people, they do things when they see the results more than when they're just told, if you know what I mean. So people who are stubborn, don't want to change, when they see things, sometimes they change. I can say sometimes it's bad, because most valuable things are unseen, because the things that you've seen, they don't have value as the one which are unseen. But people, they value things that they see. It's very unfortunate. But for something like that, just do what you want them to see. Just keep on doing. Don't bother them. Don't keep on nagging them. I need you to change. No, just do, and then they will see. Eventually, they will change.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Paul. Thank you, Mary, for the question.